NL, do you have tennis or pickleball energy? Honestly, maybe I'm flattering myself. I think I have tennis energy. I could definitely see myself later in life having pickleball energy. Or, I mean, I would play. I love racket sports to begin with. My main reason for thinking I have tennis energy is that I'm not 55 years old, which is like a prerequisite for being good at pickleball. And then secondarily, I took tennis lessons for 2 years as a kid and really enjoyed it. So I'd say that I think I've got tennis energy, speaking from experience. Why'd you stop? Well, okay, so at first I took them at like a combination golf course tennis facility, and it was really good, but it was also like a long drive for my parents to drop me off. So then like the next summer, I took courses at like the local tennis courts, which was much closer, but I was like 12, my instructor was 15, and like on the first day, I was like, I'm better than the instructor. So we basically would just get together like once every 6 weeks, and my parents would pay her like $40 a session for me to beat her ass in tennis. Like, and then at that point, I was like, I didn't really learn much from the last lessons, so maybe I'll just play video games instead. And they were like, that's fine. Her? Yeah, bro, women play tennis too. You asshole. I still wonder what would have happened if they had, because when I first went to tennis lessons, I am ambidextrous. So rather than have a backhand and a forehand, when the ball came to the side that my racket wasn't on, I pivoted the racket to the other hand and hit a forehand, okay? My teacher was like, if you do that, like, you're gonna suck and I'm gonna give you like bad marks, which at the time I was like, that sucks for me. But now I'm like, who cares, bro? It's like, it's not school, it's tennis lessons. Anyway, they were like, you can't do that, you can't do that, no pros do that, you can't do that. And so I switched to having a two-hand backhand, which I'll admit feels freaking sweet when you go and you give it like a good one. That being said, how does he know that I can't do it in pro just because nobody's ever done it before? All of a sudden you got like Sean Marion, and he's playing college ball, and everyone's like, he's not going to make the NBA with form like that because his release is like impossible to time in NBA 2K. Then he plays like 11 years on the Phoenix Suns and becomes one of the first people to pioneer positionless basketball, okay? I could have been the Sean Marion of the Pro Tour. I'm not saying I would have been Pete Sampras or Roger Federer or something like that, but I could have been like Michael Chang, and they would have been like, look at how cool this guy is with his double forehand or something. You know what it is I feel like someone who like, basically, I was like a left-handed person in the 1930s. My teacher was like, you have to write with your right hand. And I was like, why? It feels better to write with my left. And they're like, you wouldn't get it. When you go to college, you'll have to do cursive writing with your right hand. Everybody's right-handed. Yeah, well, you know what? Honestly, I could have been the first in a long line of people that are backhandless tennis players. But you took that away from me. I don't really hold it against the teacher. Like, I mean, he was just doing what he thought was best. I hold it against society, to be clear. Just don't listen to people? No, I'm a people pleaser. I love listening to people. And then holding it against them later. Well, this thing that I thought would go bad went bad. Well, you told me to do it. You told me. What am I supposed to do? I don't have any autonomy in this situation. I'm only 34. Man's so old, he learned cursive. I mean, I was like 7 when I learned it. Like, I'm not going to take any responsibility for learning cursive. I was just in the damn... You wanted to get through the 2nd grade, you had to learn cursive, unfortunately. Doesn't make any sense to me either, but I never learned cursive. Congrats. I mean, there's a lot of... I grew up, and you did it as well, regardless of what your age is, honestly. If you are a living person right now, you went through, like, a very transformative period for society, just in terms of, like, change and technological growth, right? And people might say it's always been like that, but I bet if you were born in, like, the year fucking 1430 and you died in, like, 1490... that shit was pretty much like routine, right? Like, there was like one invention over those 50 years that changed your life. But like, oh, I previously had been using a scythe like this, and then check it out. We got a handle on this part now. Zhunk, 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 zhunk. You know, big whoop. I'm not saying it's the first transformative period in history. I'm just saying, like, for the most part, your life was probably about the same. For me, on the other end, two things that blow my mind about my education growing up. Hang on, one of these, please. Learning cursive ended up being, at the time, it felt useless, and ended up being even more useless than I thought because of the rise of computers. But on top of that, speaking of computers, I had a typing class like every year from 4th grade to 9th grade, which felt like they billed it to us as them being like future-proofing us. They're like, holy cow, you have to learn how to type because computers are becoming like so common. You know, you're probably going to end up using a computer in your job. And we were like, whoa, that sounds awesome. But then, though that's true, but then those MFers taught to the damn letter of the law for typing class. So I would, in like 4th or 5th grade, I was typing like 30, 40 words per minute, which for a 4th grader in 1997 or 1998 was really, really good. Then my teacher would watch me and be like, you don't use the home row, so I'm giving you like a C+. And I'm like, lady, I type faster than you. It's crazy. She was probably just jealous. She probably actually didn't care. Because it probably like, she's like, I'd love to give you a good grade, but the Ontario school curriculum says I have to teach home row. If they find out I'm not teaching home row, they're going to turn my ass into like a substitute teacher, or they're going to make me coach volleyball or something like that. So she's just trying to protect herself. Meanwhile, people at the Ontario school board are like, we don't care if our kids type fast. We just want our kids to perform better on the standardized typing test than the kids in Quebec do. And it's all turtles all the way up, you know?